please carry on.
Okay. So today we will talk about robotic process automation, which is right now very in demand in the market. So RPA and RDA, there are two sections available in the market. So depend upon the tools and business requirement, uh, client are taking call to implement it. So first we will start what is RPA. It is RPA stand for robotic process automation, and it is used for basically back office and a lot of operations to automate the task and minimize the redundancy of human intervention. So let's see. So as I mentioned, that automation that interacts with computer-centric process, which is with a software user interface providing support. That means there are multiple applications. Our legacy application right now client has, and what they are doing is they are just doing the same redundant task every time, and by using RPA, we can just remove the human intervention and we can deploy it, and we can make a software bot which is responsible to do the same human activity or mimic the human activities uh, and do the same jobs. And it will be a lot of it will be a faster implementations in terms of development or in terms of uh, deployment also. So there is key market drivers. So key market drivers. So right now RPA is in hype because it is low code and it is very easy to implement. So the people who doesn't have a lot of programming background also, they can learn it. They can, I mean, client can train them and implement that overall processes. So for example, the first market drivers is cost pressure, because the tool has a very there are a lot of tools available in the market, and all the tools are giving in a less cost, and the implementation cost is very less. The other thing is custom expectation, because it is very easy to implement, and it's a basically a workflow automations. So you can just drag and drop and deploy it in a server. There are other some tools are for example UiPath and Automation Anywhere. They are giving you a flexibility to deploy your bot into a server, which is a web-based application, and even the Pega Robotic also. And the some of the bots, company like Blue Prism, they are giving you on premises. So initially, company operating model was different. So they are subsequently enhanced their operating model from 90s to 2020. So initially they have a centralized process, which is the shared services. Then it moved to outsourced BPO. Some of the people were working from offshore, and then it is going into global standardized process. And then there are some kind of scripting. We all aware of that automation testing and all, Selenium and UFT, other powers, VB scripting automation, macro, Excel macro. So there were a lot of automations came in the mid of 20s, and then now enterprise are implementing RPA, which is basically the end-to-end automation, which is very enhanced. It is not like a VB script. It is not like scripting or Selenium, which is a partial one. And then currently in 2020, basically they are integrating RPA with other application, which is like BPM. Pega implement BPM, AI, cognitive. You can just integrate with, and the other tools are giving you a lot of integrations activities for by which just you can just automate end-to-end processes with the from reading an email to taking a decision. Or we have a lot of OCR capabilities also. So right now, RPA vendors are RPA vendors are investing too much to integrate with like cognitive or AI or machine learning libraries which is available in the market. So the benefit of RPA is a lot of benefits are you can get. The first one is rapid ROI is because it is very easy to implement and you don't have a lot of setup to required. So it's only one tool you have to require for the development purpose, and the runtime is different. So it's very easy. It will take hardly 1 or 2 days to set up your environment, development environment, as well as your runtime or bot, where the bot will run. The thing is the second one is enhanced process. So initially the process are not standardized. So to automate the process, you need to standardize the process again. Or if it is there, then what RPA will do, it will just do the same. It will mimic all the processes things. It will just convert the business program into technical, and it will uh, give you an enhanced overview of the process. The third one is better customer experience. So a lot of vendors are giving you RDA activity as well. So RDA is different. It is almost same with RPA, but it is having some kind of different invocation process. So by using that RDA, you can use a better customer experience. For example, you can just create a Windows form or a UI, a kind of a small UI, or based on the interventions, you can just instruct the users to invoke the bot. Fourth one, fourth one is element repetitive work. So even in BPO services, in the data entry, there are people who get fed up of doing the same thing again and again. So you can remove using RPA. Improve services delivery because there is no human intervention. The services will be better and the bot will do the same thing 24/7. Other like cost reduction, insight and analytics you can implement into RPA as well. And there's one more thing which is a very important is the compliance. When you are so right now bot will use every applications and other processes, so the compliance thing will get increased. And the most important features in RPA is that it is very scalable and flexible. So you can scale that processes to any limit. It is very easy to integrate. It is very easy to scale it or enhance the application. So these are the leading RPA tools. First one is UiPath. Is always be there because it is UiPath is giving you a lot of other integration with other applications like Kibana, TensorFlow, and other analytics as well as other BPM integrations. Automation Anywhere is the oldest one, and it is also so right now they have went into a cloud thing, so you can use Automation Anywhere. Blue Prism is the oldest one in the entire family, RPA family. And initially it was in the top, but right now it is going down in the market because they are not enhancing the tool very well. The fourth one is Pega Robotic. Pega Robotic is very new among the RPA family. It is so initially it was known as OpenSpan, so which will be developed in 1995, and then they were using Pega acquired this OpenSpan in 2016, and from that they started naming as Pega OpenSpan, and then they converted into Pega Robotic Automation. So right initially it was Pega 7, Pega OpenSpan 7, but but there are a lot of enhancement after the acquisition of Pega. So right now, Pega Robotic is going into the market. The fourth one is WorkFusion. So the other four which I was talking about, they are all based on .NET, but WorkFusion is the different and it is based on Java. So Cofux and Nice is also there. So these are the tools component in the top three. The first one is UiPath. So UiPath will give you a UiPath robot, which is a runtime, and the deployment is Orchestrator. So Orchestrator is a web-based application, and you can also operate from the mobile. So it is, and in RDA, yes, you can implement. I'll talk about RDA and RPA. What is the difference among them? So RDA is basically stand for remote robotic desktop automation. So we will deep dive into later. So yes, you can implement RDA as well using UiPath. And OCR technologies, OCR is basically to reading digitized input. For example, reading an image, text-based image, or PDF file, or automation of Citrix applications. So it's optical character recognition by using. So Abby is the top in the market in OCR technology. It is very good. So UiPath will give you a lot of OCR technologies in it. Other integration in UiPath is SAP, IBM BPM, Kibana, Tableau. So Tableau is basically for dashboard. The Blue Prism is basically it will have everything in that tool itself. So there is no separate studio and for like UiPath and Pega Robotic, they have a separate runtime, they have a separate development environment, and they have a separate deployment environment. In Blue Prism, you will get all in one tool. So in one tool, you will get the studio as well as your control room where you can deploy, you can create queues and all everything. And runtime is also there. So other is like RDA, Blue Prism is not enhancing them into an RDA. So basically it's an only RPA. And the other integrations in Blue Prism is very less compared to other OCR technologies. So it's yes, it is having Abby. Initially, Blue Prism is was using Tesseract, but it was not good. It's not 100% correct. So they just newly they implemented Abby OCR. Other integration like IBM Watson and APN. So these are all. These both are BPM tool, which is the business process management. The third one we will talk about Pega Robotic. So Pega Robotic having three things. The first one is your studio environment, which is Pega Robotic Studio. The other is Robo Manager. So basically, Robo Manager is a dashboard. It's a web-based application which given by Pega, and there you can manage your bot health, and queue details and other details in Robo Manager. So the deployment will be a Robo Manager. And the third one is the runtime is very separate. So, and the most important feature in Pega Robotic is it's very easily integrate with Pega BPM. So basically, Pega is marketing their Pega Robotic as Pega BPM integration. So and it is also having OCR technology, ABB and all. So Pega Robotic give you two things: RDA. You can implement RDA and RPA as well. So this is a small example that using robotic process automation, EY gain they have implemented their RPA into hiring thing in a hiring process, and they gain this much of cost saving compared to offshore. And these are all things they have implemented in 2018. So let's talk Pega Robotic first. So Pega Robotics, as I told you, you will get three things. The first one is studio environment. I will show you with a small example. So in this course, what we will talk about today's session is what are the different types of robotic available, RPA available, and what Pega is giving you as a part of RPA, and the course content, and followed by a small example of hands-on. Swiss RDA is an automation solution that assists the agent in handling simple repetitive tasks. So basically, it is same as RPA, but we also RDA is also known as attended bot. So so in RDA, basically that bot will get invoked by a human, for example, and in RPA it is not. So in RPA there is no agent to invoke the bot. So the difference basically that is an attended bot and the RPA is unattended bot. So I will give you a small example. So for some of the process where uh, there are people need to implement something or invoke something, there are some action or decision people need to put it. So it will in RDA you will get some kind of UI, okay, where you can click based on some details you are inputting in that UI, and after putting the details you just click on the button. So after clicking that button you will your bot will get start and it will fetch all the details, or it will do the processes in the background, and it will again based on your requirement you will get some kind of details in the UI back, or it will you will get some kind of it will invoke some kind of emails to the concerned team. In RPA it is not. So in RPA basically it is no human intervention. It will run into your cloud or your VM or virtual machines with the scheduler, and it if I give you example like reading an email and all. So in RPA, what you will do, what bot will do, it will read the email based on the email subject. It will it will invoke the bot. The bot will run 24/7 based on your schedule. It's 9 to 6, so 24/7 is based on your schedule. It will run without any human intervention. So these are the course content, which is it's there are other advanced topic also, which I'll cover in between. So by in Pega, you can automate any kind of application. So most of the applications are based on right now are based on web-based, and the second one is universal web adapters. So we call adapters here in Pega Robotic uh, each and every application type. So like web application, we call it as web adapters. For universal web adapters, it stand for Google Automation, Google Chrome Automation, and Mozilla Firefox. So there are different things. I mean, by using application into IE and Chrome is different. So the automation will get a different test. The other application like Windows adapters, and I haven't mentioned mainframe and Java-based applications, Sybil applications. So you can all automate it using Pega Robotic mainframe as well. And the most important thing is RDA. So most of the company will not give you, most of the tool will not give you a flexibility to create a Windows form. So by using Pega Robotic Studio, you can create a simple UI form also. It's kind of a UI, GUI, where it is based on totally .NET. The other very important topic is debugging, diagnostics, and error handling. And there are a lot of connectors available. Connector is there's a difference between adapter and connector. So connector is basically to interact with .com object. COM object is a native one. So it is your the application which run into your Windows. So those are COM object model. Those are in COM object model, and to interact with those applications like Excel and other things, you or Outlook, OLEDB. So these things you will get into connection. And apart from that COM object, you will get a lot of utilities also into that connectors. So it's all available into Toolbox. The other is OCR, which is the Abby OCR. I'll talk about it later. And Robo Manager, they have implemented. They were late 2019. Yeah, they start of 2019. They were they launched their Robo Manager as a deployment portal. Before that, they were using OpenSpan Management Control. It was the older one, and now it is getting decommissioned. So Robo Manager start with version 5, and right now it is 8. The the other important feature is Pega and Pega robotic integration. So it's the most important features, and this is the marketing strategies for. That is the only marketing strategy for Pega Robotic Studio. The other Pega package server deployment and other like automator. These are all other things available in the course content. Okay, I haven't mentioned it here, but it will be a part of your course. So what in today's session, what we will start with a small implementation or hands-on, and we will see about how the studio will look like, what are the components of a studio, and we will automate a simple web application. Okay, so basically to implement the web application, there are adapters available into Pega Robotics, and let's let's see the studio first. Then we will talk about this component of the web adapter, which is start pages, ignore main browser, start on project. These are the all component available for web adapters, and how we will integrate a web adapter. So basically, integration is like injection your Pega robotic into a web to identify the controls. So I'll talk about it in detail. So let's see first the studio. So right now the Pega Robotic Studio having a version of 19.1 and it is the latest one. So they have changed a lot. Before it starts from Pega 7, Pega Robotic 7. So there is a hell lot of difference between Pega Robotic 7 and Pega Robotic 19.1. So the tool is based on Visual Studio on top of Visual Studio. So when you install it, you will see that it will use your Visual Studio shell. So since it is based on robotic Visual Studio, so it will look like a Visual Studio. So if you ever worked in Visual Studio, you will get these kind of UI. These are all from Visual Studio. So there are two types of installation given by Pega. The first one is Pega Robotic Studio, which is I'm having. And the another one, if you have Visual Studio in your machine, you can install the Pega Robotic plugin. So you don't have to install Pega Robotic Studio separately. So these are the component of Pega Robotic Studio. For first one is so there are a lot of things you can drag, drop, or dock, unpin, pin. So based on your configuration, you can do. So the major component of your studio is these 1, 2, 3, 4. So we will talk about it. The first one is Solution Explorer. In Solution Explorer, basically you will get all your project details and the hierarchy of it. Object Explorer will give you component details of your projects. For example, automations. If you want to individually see the component like global containers, automations, and adapters details, you have to see through Object Explorer. It will give you a hierarchical definition of each components, and the properties, you will get the properties of each one component, and the toolbox you will get all the customized utilities and other .NET component. So let's create first your first robotic project. New, open, select empty Pega robotic project. You can change the solution name as well, but I'm having the same. So the demo project has been created, and it get all the reference which is necessary to implement any project. So it's a basic reference this project will get. And if you add any other component into that project, based on that, it will add the reference. For example, so if I right click and click on add new item, you will get a list of options available here. So each one is for different purpose. As I talk, so I'll talk about each one of them from that portion and when to use and what it is. The first one is Windows Form. So Windows Form is for creating an UI. Since Pega is giving you a flexibility to create a UI, customize UI based on your requirements, so that the end user will interact with that UI and perform some kind of operations in that. So we will create a small Windows form later. So it is a part of RDA. So right now we will just use a web application. So for web automation, we will use web application. So this is the adapter, web application adapters. So we will talk each one of them as an adapter. The first one is Windows form adapter. The second one is automation. So basically automation is the core thing which is responsible for making your bot. So inside the automation, you will design your workflow, and there are other part of automation. There are other things. You can just it's a small individual component so that you can design your workflow, and you can just call it as function also. So it is not function, but it will act as an function or action. The other thing is Windows application. So a Windows application is responsible to automate Windows application, like if you have any native application into your system like Sybil or SAP, so you can use Windows or any Java built application. Other is web application adapter. This is for our purpose, which in for today's session. So by using this adapter, I can interact with IE, Internet Explorer. The Universal Web Adapter is a stand for Google Chrome Automation and Mozilla Firefox. The other is global container. As the name suggests, it will hold all the component which is used in globally in that project. So if you use anything like variables and utilities, or you can put into a global container. So recording is for recording session. We will not go inside it. It is not important. Application bar is kind of Windows form, but it is having it is having a different uses. So it's kind of a small bar. It will look like a Windows form itself, but you can implement in a different way as well. So it's kind of bar you will get in the UI, and based on hover or drag and drop, you can see that Windows. So Windows application will be a fixed one into that UI, but by using application bar, app bar, you will make it a hover based. The other is configuration file. It's kind of, if you want to use, you can use, but it is not necessary. And the other is service. So service is basically for API automation. So let's first create our uh, web application. So the moment you will add your test web adapters, you will see that there is some kind of DLL has been added as a part of it. So Windows also, so OpenSpan added two adapters. First one is adapters.windows and adapters.web. So Windows is for invoking, I mean, the outer form of the your browser. So it is based on your COM object that IE having, I mean, that's a native application to invoke a web. So this get added into a reference. So we will talk about the reference in detail. So how we will manipulate the project references as well. So right now we are just parking it. Okay. So the first important thing is, as in my slide, is three properties of web adapter, which is a start page, ignore main browser, and start on project start. So apart from this, there are other properties as well. There are a lot of properties available for web adapters. So these are the three main for the basic uses. So we will talk about start page first. So if you want to see the web adapter properties, just click on web adapters first and go into a properties. So these are all the properties available for web adapters. The first one is start page. So a start page is like your application. For example, if you are automating uh, any web-based application, so you will have some kind of URL. So in URL, you have to provide into a start page. So this is a start page. So what we will do, we will use training web adapters. So we Pega give you a simple web application to automate that, to train your automation. So which is a training.openspan.com. We will also use this one as a part of training. So what you have to do, you have to mention your application start page here. If you don't mention, no need to worry, it will invoke a home page. So basically, start page is responsible to invoke your application, web-based application. The other two properties is ignore main browser. So ignore main browser. If any browser is open, if you make it true, then what it will do, it will invoke a different Internet Explorer browser into your system. If you make it false, then what it will do, it will inject into the same browser which is already open. So it's better to make it true. And the third one is your start on project start. So start on project start is based on your call. You can use it, you cannot, I mean, if you want that the application will invoke the moment the bot will start, then you have to make it true. Otherwise, if you want the hold in your hand, then you can make it false. So there are other properties we will talk about in details later, and each properties are having a different purpose, like hook child, monitor all. These are important properties. And the browser bitness, you can manipulate other things. And there is one more section is available, which is a credential. So it is basically for managing your credential. So you can add it. So these are the different properties also available. So let's first talk about interrogation and how Pega Robotic know what are the controls. So we call it as a controls. So each one of that particular fields or element you will see into an browser UI, we call it as a control. So to identify those control, you have to interrogate it. So we call it as spy also. So there are other tools like Blue Prism, it called as spy, and in UFT also it is calling as an spying the object. So spying the object or doing interrogation, Pega gives you two way. The first one is by using that option, start interrogation. The another one is the web controls, the tab. So we will, in this session, we will talk about this start interrogation thing because it is mostly used and it is easy to implement. Web control, you will get confused now. So let's get handy with them. So if you click on start interrogation, what it will do, it will invoke my Internet Explorer with that particular link which I have provided into a start page. Just wait for some time, my system is very slow. So I have provided that training.openspan.com into that start page. So Pega Robotic identify that this is the web application which I want to interact with. So that's why it started that particular application. So now there is a different options available into an interrogation form. So this we call it as a bullseye. This one is bullseye, and these are all your way of doing the interrogation or identifying the controls. So control is like, so these are the page. So the outer layer is Windows of that browser, which is basically a COM object. COM is component object model provided by Microsoft. And so there are two object model available into an automation. The first one is COM, the second one is DOM. Let's talk about in a word in those two. So COM basically a component object model, and any provided by Microsoft, and any application, native application which run into a uh, Windows. So so Microsoft invokes some kind of they expose their methods and properties so that the other application can interact with. It's kind of web services. If you talk about this is not web services, but this is like a web service so that the other application uh, can integrate with or can interact with. So COM is for the native one, and DOM is document object model. So any application which run into a DOM or HTML. So for that, uh, it is also exposed. So for example, this is the outer layer is Windows. Outer layer is a native application, and which is a browser, and this which is responsible to run this browser that I. So now we will automate. We will automate a we are automating a web application. So in a web application, there are other controls available. So for example, this username, it is kind of text box. This password is also a field. So we call it as a text box. So these are all controls, and this sign in, it is kind of button. So these are all controls available into our DOM, into this application. So we will interact, we will add my Pega Robotic will identify these controls, and then in runtime, what it will do, it will interact with them based on the design, what we will design into an automation, what we will train the bot so that it will give me my process task. So the other option is like, so there are two major way. The first one is default, and second one is select element. So HTML table designer is for only table. So if any table is available in UI, then you will use HTML table designer, and for other interrogation you will not use. So you will, for other interrogation like identify any text box or button, you will use either default or replace or select element. Debugging matching, if the control is not matching after development, then we use debug matching. And if you want to replace, I mean, sometimes that property of that control get changed. So during debugging purpose, you will use this debug and replace control. So we will see both default and select element today. So let me interrogate first with using default. So to interrogate any controls, what you have to do, you have to drag and drop this bullseye into that controls overview, and you will get a blue outline of any control. So I'm dragging and dropping. So this is the outline of my text box. So the moment it will come here, you will release it. So if you use default, you will not get any options in UI. You have to go into the Robotic Studio and you will see that this control is getting added. Okay. So, so similarly, what we will do, we will interrogate the other control like password and sign in button. But this time what we will use select element, and it is advisable by Pega Robotic to use select element so that you will get an option, and you can take a call during interrogation as well. So it is the same process in the select element as well. Drag and drop. The moment outline will come, you have to release it. So in if you when you are using select element, you will get this option to select. Okay. So basically, what it will do, it will give you a hierarchy of that particular control, the DOM hierarchy of that particular control. So this is my input text box. And these are all the hierarchies. Start with HTML, body, div, form, table, tbody, and TDTR, and then input. And you will get the HTML of that particular control as well. See that ID is user pass and class is input text. So to interact with any controls into a DOM, you will have to find unique attributes. So class, ID, inner text, inner HTML, and there are a lot of attributes available for any controls into a DOM. So you have to find it a unique one. It might be a primary, or you can call it as a composite. So you can use multiple attributes to make it unique. So basically what we have to do, we have to add this one, then select this input text and then create control. So in this time, similarly, we will do for sign in. See this kind of button. Click on create control. Now go to Pega Robotic Studio. You will be able to see that all these three controllers got added. So now we will manipulate with their match rules. So, and we will talk about it in very detail because it is very important features. Okay, if you don't interrogate your controls properly, you won't be able to use it in your automation, or in the runtime. Most of the time, it will not match. So it is one. The first one is your name. So we will manipulate each one of that. We will talk about each section of that match rule and its purpose and its uses also. The first one is your targets, where you will be able to see that your control's name, which is attached to, and it is if there is one blue line, that means it is uniquely identified by the Pega Robotic by using these two match rules. So now right now they are using two match rule, which is the first one is input type. Since it is a text box, so that's why you are see that this is a text, and the other thing is element ID. So this is the element ID of that particular text box. So if you want to highlight it, just if you want to see that which control this is in the, and where it is placed into your UI, just select, right click, you will get an option of highlight. So now this, you know that this is the text box which is in your, which is added in that Object Explorer. So other attributes match rule are available here. You can just click on attributes match rule and you will be able to see there are a lot of other match rules like element class, index, inner text, path, button alternate, HTML, name, size, schema, control chain is different. We will talk about when we will use a complex control. Okay. So you can manipulate, you can add, you can delete. For example, if I want to delete that input type, just select, delete. So now it's also uniquely identified, so it's fine. So I can use only element ID as well. And here you will get an option that use element ID is enabled for web control. So the list target. below may not be complete. So what you have to do, you have to just click on disable that one. So now you will be able to see. So this section is for, you will see that it is getting uniquely added because there is only one line, and section is you can manipulate with your match rules based on your uh, experience or your application performance. And this selected targeted is basically the details of that particular attribute. For example, that text username. So what, see, the max length is this, the name is this, and these are the outer HTML, inner HTML, outer text. All you will be see that all the details you will see in that particular section. So if you want to use any other match rule, so what you have to do, let me give you an example. Let me add some outer HTML. So there is an option. There is no option for outer HTML because it is only having a inner HTML match rule. So to use a customized match rule, what you have to do, you have to select attribute value match rule and click on new. So if you click on new, now there is no line. That means this is not perfectly matched. If you refresh it and right click, there is no highlight. That means it is not getting matches into from your UI. So what you have to do, that the attribute name was outer HTML, and the outer HTML is like this. So this you can make it. So it's a simple mode. So if I click now and refresh, now see, you will be able to see. If now I delete element ID, it's also fine. It's matching only one. So you can just highlight to see that it is a correct or not. So now it's fine. Other manipulation you can do with that match tool is, this is a match tool editor, and you can use a lot of options. For example, contain, doesn't contain, and regex also, simples, wildcard, start with. So for complex controls, we use this editor a lot, and just I'm giving you example of outer HTML. So it is having a lot of junk data, so which can be changed. For example, text size is 50, but in production it can be changed. So it is not advisable to use the entire thing. Our mode is simple. So what you have to do, you can manipulate it. So the first one is input username. So I think this one will be fixed, and this class name also will be fixed till there. So it is a common one. So what I'll do, I'll delete all the other details. Now it's fine, but it will not match now. So if I just click refresh, so there is no match. There is nothing. It will give you an amber. That means this control is not getting matched into a UI. So to match it again, what we have to do, there is a mode is simple, but can we use a start with? So basically this outer HTML is start with that string. Okay. So my Pega robotic will, what it will do, it will use that start with method, and it will match this section only for that particular control. If you click OK, refresh, now you are able to see that controls again. Now it's getting matches. So in similar way, you can use other properties or other match tools also. So these are the entire, I mean, that matches the big section, and it is solely based on your experience and application behavior. So sometimes ID is getting matches, sometimes you will not get class name or ID, sometimes you will not get in, you have to use index match tool, sometimes you have to use control, inner HTML, inner text. So these are all attributes. By manipulating these attributes, you will be able to, your job is to make that particular control uniquely identify into your application. So similarly, I will disable this one, and I don't think so that type match tool is necessary. So try to use as minimal as possible to use to add any match rule here. because it will take some time. So when you add any kind of any controls, the hierarchy you will get is like this. So this is your adapters, which is responsible to invoking that application, web application. And this text box is basically inside the page. I mean, if it is there any frame, then page frame, and then this text box, all the controls. So similarly, it will get added. So this is a parent page. This is a form, and these are all controls available in that under this form. To and all these pages and controls will get the defined name which is provided by the DOM. So you can manipulate, you can just rename it. So what I'll do, this is PG sign in page. So if you go into a module of this page, you have document URL and document title. So that document title will be the same as long as into a production, but document URL will get changed. So for example, now here is training.openspan.com, and in QA it is, or dev it is like training dev.openspan.com. So in that case, it will not match into a runtime. So it is not advisable to use document URL module. But if there is no other module is getting added, so you can also manipulate by using this mode, like start with, or you can use regex also. So for the time being, what I'll do, I'll just delete it. It's not necessary. Similarly, I'll change the name of form and other like same text username and this. So now what we will do, we will just use this control and we will create an automation to run that application. Okay. So to create an application, what we will do, we will go into project, right click, we will add new item. You will get a lot of options. We will select automation, AutoX, sign in. So now automation got added. So here what we will do, we will define our automation. So this automation is responsible for defining for your workflow. So before that, what I'll do, I'll just stop the interrogation. So the moment you will stop it, that application will also get closed, because this application is invoked by this by Pega Robotic itself. So when you click on stop, it will also get closed. Now go to your automation. To design an automation, Pega give you two things. It's kind of it kind of functions. So there will be some kind of entry point and exit points. So to make any automation modular, so we use a lot of labels, entry points. So those are the detailed things we will talk about later. For this demo purpose, what I'll do, I'll just invoke any application from that automation itself. To run this bot, what you have to go to toolbox, select run, and option is this one, runtime host, all project start, runtime loader dot all project start, drag and drop it here. So basically your bot will start from this particular point. So this is responsible, this tool is responsible to invoke your bot. So this should be your first entry point. And after that, you can design any number of automation based on your entry points. So this should be, if you want, I can show you a main also, the logic, how we can how we can make it modular. So let it be that auto sign in. What I'll do, I'll just create one more automation, name it as main. So in main, we will call other automation as well. So in main, I'll drag and drop this all runtime project start, and the another thing is terminate. So this is the entry point of my automation, and this is the exit point of my automation. Okay, and in between, what I'll do, I'll design my workflow in a modular basis. So my first automation is auto sign in. So what I'll design automation for signing into a training web adapter. So to sign in the application, first, since you are calling this automation into other automation, so what you have to create a one entry point. So the right click, create one entry point here, and now you can design your workflow. The first one is, since I told you that it's not advisable to make adapter properties start on project start as true, so I make it false. So I want that adapter into my control, so that's why I make it false. And if you want to use this one into automation, so this is the section where you will get all the properties listed for each one of the Object Explorer component. So this, if you click on adapter, you will click on this configure type, you will see all the properties, event, and method associated with that adapters. So similarly for other controls also, you will get all three. And these three are here itself. This is the property sign, this is your event, and this is your method. So when whatever you will select here, it will see in your objects in this UI itself. The first one I want to invoke, the automation should look like smooth. So the design will be like what I have, my use case will be, small use case will be like invoke that particular application, which is a web application, and then I will put user ID inside user ID password, and then I'll click on sign in button. Okay. To invoke any web application, what we have to do, we have to select this web adapter, go here, method, start. So if you select start, you will be able to see here also. So first I'm invoking a web adapter using that start. Since I have already provided the start page property into adapter, so I'm not using any start page property here. So what it will do, it will invoke this particular uh, component will invoke your adapter with that particular link which is provided into a start page. If you want to manipulate it into runtime, you can also manipulate. Just go into adapter, click here, see the properties. There will be some start page also, all the properties which is available there. Just select all here, come into properties, see the start page. And start page, you can just make that training that web adapter here also. So based on the design you want, for this demo purpose, I'm not using this one. So now my adapter will get invoked with that particular link. So since this is and sometimes the application is slow, so this will take some time. So if I launch the adapter, and then what I have to do, I have to just put text, username, password, and click on signing. To put a text user into username box, what you have to use, set val. It's not there, so I will go to into method, set val. So this method is available, which is for putting the username. Similarly for password, file is there, and then I will click on sign in. There should be some kind of click. So here it is, perform click. So this is the steps. And when it is the perform click will get complete, then I will exit from this automation. Correct? There are other things also into that you can use that to make modular, like label and all we can add. So that will be, we will talk about it later. So now the username will be, you have to provide, but you won't be able to add it here. So this yellow line is for workflow line, and there will be one more line which is the blue, which and Pega Robotic call it as the data line. So right now you won't be able to add any text here. So basically you have to provide some kind of string into that particular value. So to providing an string, what you have to do, you have to just go into toolbox, click on string. You will be able to see that under variable there is a string, drag and drop here. You will get added variable 1. You can add other 2 also. And now it is variable 1 and variable 2. What I'll do, I'll just drag and drop the blue line from here. So basically this data will flow into that particular text box. Similarly for this one. So now variable 1, variable 2 I will not be able to identify. So what I'll do, I'll just change the name. The name will be my str username, and this one is str password. Okay, so now you can test username, and this is the password. So now your automation is created for sign in, and this automation you will call it in main. So just go to main. This is object explorer. You will get all the component into your project which is available into your project here itself, and this by using this object explorer you can design you can see the properties and other details. So this is my AutoX sign in. I have to call it in this main. Just click here. You will get an option of execute, drag and drop here. So when it get execute, from exit you will terminate it. So this is your automation design is done. So let debug it. To make it debug, put a breakpoint here, click here, right click, toggle breakpoint to see that it will run successfully or not. Click on start. So my bot will get start and it will run. So basically project is getting builded here. So first it will build the project and then it will come into that component. So it load all the project. It stopped here because I put a breakpoint. To debug it, you have two options. First one is F10, step into and step over. So step over is F10 and step into F11. So I'll use F10 only. It came here. So if I click F10 again, it will invoke this particular component. So it invoked it, and see the application haven't launched. But if I click on that F10 again in runtime, what it will do, application will not launch, and before launching the application, because it is taking time, my username, password, this control will put all that, this workflow will get over it. Okay. So that means it will not put all this user ID and password into fields because the application is taking time. So we will change it a little bit to make it smooth. To stop this bot, just go to debug and click stop. So since it is taking time to invoke invoke the application, what we will do, we will put some kind of wait in between the test, the start and the username. So to put a wait, what you have to go, just go to toolbox, click pause, drag and drop here. It will get added here. Sleep is a method available. Go here. Based on the application behavior, you can put it like 3000. So it will take either milliseconds. Now it's on sync. To make it sync, so I put a 3000 milliseconds pause, which is 3 seconds. Now I'll run it again. So it loaded my project. After executing this, I'm pressing F10. So now it invoke. So it is waiting for 3 seconds. The application is also launched here. If I put again, put the value, put this. If I see the application, see username and password there. And now the time to click the sign in button. So it came here, it click on sign in. Let's see, it haven't clicked here because it is in disabled state. So what I have to do, I have to just put another thing, just complete it. There are scenarios where you will not be able to just click any button simply like using perform click, but most of the scenario you can use it. So so what we have seen in that particular application, that after putting the value, the button is not getting enabled. So this button is not getting enabled. So what I'll do, before clicking on it, I will enable it. To enable it, just go here. You will get a method called raise event. Drag drop. Select. So you will be able to see that there are a lot of event available on that particular control. So I will use on focus. So based on your application behavior, you can use on blur, on change. So now what I'll do, I make it a little bit more because it is taking time. I'll click start. So this time I'll remove this breakpoint and disable it. I just click on continue. Launch the application. It put the username and password. It was too fast. That's why you won't be able to see. So what we will do, it is getting into terminated. Let it run again so that you will be able to see that applications get launched. Now go to here. It's still in disable state. That means that on focus is not working. Stop. So you should not use before implementing anything. What you can do, you can check during integration as well that which portion is getting enabled. So there's an option called test target. I haven't talked about it. Okay, so in that you can just see. Okay, this is not enabled. What we will do, we will just go to adapters. We will again start integration. We will see what is the issue with that button. So why it is not getting enabled. So let's debug it. So now your application is here. You are in interrogation mode. Just come here. Everything is fine. So what we will do, we will just use test target so that we should not. So here's text value, username, invoke. See, you are able to put the value here. Same for password. See, it's working. Select text target method, select text, password. It's also fine. So now it is in disable state. That button is in disable state. So we will see how we will enable it. Click on that button, test target, come here, raise event. I was using focus, see, invoke, still disabled state. That means on focus will not work. Other is like visible, enable also. This enable. See, now it is working. So what we will do, we will use this enable only into our automation. So let's stop the interrogation, go to your design, remove this, This is enable properties. I'll select true and then I'll do the perform click. Now my application is closed. Click on start. So the application will launch. I haven't put any breakpoint. So now it is enabled. I mean, that is working fine. But it didn't click. It's because it is too fast. So what I'll do, I'll just put a breakpoint of. I'll put a small pause here. Stop it. So these are the things you can just do with your automation. You have to see the application behavior so that you will be able to make it in sync. Put a small pause here. There's a dynamic pause also. We will talk about how we can implement dynamic pause. It is the moment any control will get appear, then it will click. Otherwise, it will wait. There's a timeout options as well. So it's done. Let's see. See now, sign in. So it's able to sign in. So in today's session, we talk about what is RPA and what are the other components, what are the tools available, and what are the tools component, and how these all top 4 or top 3 vendors are competing with each other, and they are and the other and then we talk about Pega Robotic, how Pega Robotic is different from other, and what are the components, what are the advantages Pega Robotic having over other tools like BPM integrations. And then we talk about Pega Robotics component, like what type of course contents and other web applications, how to automate web applications and integrations, how to interact with the web application, and a small automation, a design flow to sign in a training web application. Like Windows application automation, mainframe is very easy, but it is very different. So it is not like web or Windows or any other simple adapters. Apart from this, you have an OCR. OCR is also, Pega is also having a FB OCR, and the deployment, debugging, exception handling, error handling, integration with BPM tool, package importer, and global containers. So these are all, and designing your solution is very important. So we will not in runtime in products. I mean, usually this for the demo is fine, but in actual project you have to design your solution. Will be solution will get different. So it will all project to project reference, and we will talk about modularization and parameterization as well. So that is all for today. See you tomorrow.